Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com here. Natural wines, that's what I'm on today. Natural wines. Oh, aren't all wines natural? Well, I don't know. I mean, there's an amazing amount of things that go on in a winery, and some winemakers get fabulous salaries in order to make, yes, good wines, but sometimes there are people who, on their way to making good wines, yeah, I mean, they're a bit naughty. Sometimes they put things in that they shouldn't do. Sometimes they put things in that are perfectly legitimate, but you think, why have they done that? Why are people adding sugar? Why are people acidifying? The idea about the natural wine movement is that, well, the best definition I heard of it was somebody who came up and he says, natural wines are unmessed about with. Only the word that they used wasn't messed. It was something slightly, well, you fill in word of your choice. But, I mean, if you want to call them that, call them punk wines. I mean, there was this horrible period in the early 70s where every concert would have like a 10-minute guitar solo followed by a 10-minute drum solo and a 10-minute bass solo. Then punk came along, back to basics. This is back to basics wine. The idea is that they grow very good grapes in the vineyard, usually using organic, biodynamic viticulture, and then in the winery, simple crushing. They don't like the use of new oak because that almost adds too much flavour. Don't mind the use of an older barrel or two. If they're using any chemicals, maybe some of them will add a little bit of sulphur to keep things fresh. To keep them fresh in the bottle, but otherwise then it's just woof into a bottle, off for sale. And yeah, I think it's a movement that's been going probably about 30 or 40 years. Started in France. I think some people in Beaujolais were the first to really explore it. But it's spread through France, and now it's well, for this one I've got 3 Italian whites, but there's stuff in Spain, and you're starting to see the idea of these philosophies, disseminating around the world. Wine that is unmessed about with, punk wine if you want to call it that. 3-minute wonders. Well, let's see, they are 3-minute wonders. See, the thing is, like anything, I mean, there's no legal requirement for what is a natural wine, and there's no vetting body that says a natural wine has to be good. So like anything, there's good natural wine and there's bad natural wine. So let's see what we've got here. But these 5 are all from a UK importer who specialises in natural wine called Cave de Pérenne. I say they were the UK pioneers of the genre. First one I've got is Prosecco, Gatti Prosecco sur Lie. And stick my nose in there, and it's got a really nice smoky, it's almost like a really good dry cider. There's this smoky apple, pear, and nuttiness about it. It's not like what I call bimbo prosecco. It's not that sort of rather honeyed, simple, slightly insipid style. Not that the good proseccos are like that, but no, it's certainly not kiss me quick prosecco. It smells like it's going to be dry, appley, and interesting. Dry, appley, and very interesting. It's got this lovely richness to it. But then this minerally dryness that really just cleans out your mouth. None of that sherbet froth edge of what you think of as being prosecco. And yes, there is an edge of that appley, slight oxidation that you get in cider, but I don't object to that at all. I find that there's this nice clay-like edge as well. It's fresh, it's juicy, and it's the sort of thing that really makes you want to have some hearty food. But I can't because I've got to have some more wines. So next one, interesting, natural wine but with a screw cap. Denis Labassère Jurançon Sec, 2009, so southwest France here. Might give me a glass of quick rinse. And I'm not sure of precise grapes here, but it will be things like Gros Montseng, Petit Montseng, Corbu. And it's got classic Jurançon smells. There's this apple, but there's also this quince and fennel, and it feels like it's got an earthiness as well. I mean, certainly these first two, you can see that these are products of the soil rather than products of a grape factory, if you want to call it that. And there's this dry mineral tang to it. Herbs, flowers, this lovely citrus and pear, and yes, with this quince character coming through. Really juicy, and again, it's got this almost like what I call a clay-like heart. There's something about the wine that there's like a core of earthiness that's compelling. Next one, Matassa. Matassa is an estate in Roussillon. I can't remember how long ago it started. 7 years or something like that. Begun by a New Zealander called Sam Harrop, who I think at the time he was Marks and Spencer's, one of their, wine buyer stroke winemaker. He sort of supervised how the wines that they stocked were made around various parts of the world, and also did some buying. The guy called Tom Lubber, Lubby, I never know how to pronounce it, who's got a winery in South Africa called The Observatory. And so they do reds, but for me the whites have always been that step above the reds. Grapes here, I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be things like Grenache Blanc, Bourboulon maybe. There might be some Marsan Viognier Roussanne in there, but if I've got that wrong, I'll flash it up on screen. Now this does smell like it's been in a barrel. There's like a smoky toastiness to it. And yeah, what I call the burnt sugar edge, dry burnt sugar. And I don't know whether there's any volcanic soil here. I think the soil in this area there's some schist, there's some granite, and there's like there's certainly like this really almost a volcanic edge to the mineral note. It smells really good, and it's one of those where the fruit is there. There's like some pear, some quince again, some apple, but the fruit's laid back, and there's more of these floral minerally characters to the fore. Oh. Tasty, sappy, intriguing, sort of wine that you'll plonk on a table, and I think it's increasing now. I think 2/3 of the table will be happy with that. A third will absolutely love it, a third won't like it, but it's the third in the middle who used to be the ones who didn't like it, and now they're sort of thinking, well, hang on, this is far more interesting and intriguing than run-of-the-mill supermarket Chardonnay. It's sort of also not a run-of-the-mill supermarket Chardonnay price, but yeah, I love serving wines to people there and just watching them and seeing how they react, because if people don't like it, well, my job is to just plonk wines in front of the people and say, look, try this, try something different. And this is really good, really different. And again, this earthy, clay-like core. Even though there's no, I don't think there's too much clay in the soil here. Last two are from Italy, and older ones here. This one's Dario Princic's Jacot, Jakot, which is made from the Tokai Friulano grape. I don't know, can they call it the Tokai Friulano now? I think they can just call it, they because of Tokai in Hungary, they can only call it Friulano. It's the same grape as Sauvignon Vert or Sauvignon As. Well, I mean, if you can look, you can see from the colour of this is what they call orange wine. This is wine that's probably, when you make a white wine, what you normally do is you press the grapes, take them off the skins almost straight away, so any colour from the skins doesn't get passed on to the juice. But now there are these people making these orange wines where they do leave them in contact with the skins for a long time, sometimes months. I mean, 2-3 months isn't unheard of, and I think we're on one of those here. So I stick my nose in, and it's intriguing because it smells like it's going to have smelling tannin sounds odd, but you can smell there's going to be a bit of firmness and structure to this, and not just from acidity. Although it smells like it's going to be quite fresh too. Bit of marmalade. It's one of those that smells the bits of it could be sweet. There's like syrup, brown sugar, and yeah, treacle. But I think it's going to be quite a dry wine. Let's see. Powerful stuff, that. Really rich, full-bodied, tannic, and firm with acidity too. But there's these lovely fruit flavours around it, and it really is like dry marmalade, burnt sugar, dry marmalade. It's those ripe orangey flavours, and it just goes on and on and on. I don't notice that sort of clay-like core that I was getting here, but I do notice freshness. It's almost feels like a fortified wine. It's got that power and potency. You can feel like a bit of alcohol heat, or certainly heat from somewhere. 13.5%, so not particularly high, but really intriguing, and it's got this. That will divide opinion. That will really divide opinion. Some people will adore that, and I think that's one of those things where you really need to match it with the right foods because of that that slightly smoky, burnt character, the burnt sugar character. I think you need something that's really got quite a lot of flavour. So hard cheeses. I think old Parmesan will go really nicely with that. Old Gouda as well. And yes, you think it's going to be a sweet wine. Not a sweet wine at all. Let's see what this one's like. Emilia, that's where it's from, and it's called Ageno from the La Stoppa winery. So this is a year older. Is this going to be an orange one? Let's have a see. It is orange, yes. Not quite as orange as the last one, so maybe only 2 months skin contact here. Ginger. Now this is a bit more cloudy. It's funny, this one, the first one smelled quite fresh and vibrant. This has got some of that clay-like edge that was here. Feels like it's going to be a lighter wine. I'm not sure what the grape varieties are. No, actually, it's probably got them written on the back. Malvasia, Otrugo and Trebbiano. So, yeah, the Malvasia is the fat perfumed one, and certainly there's some heady floral perfumes here. But it's this ginger character, ginger biscuits, very perfumed, a bit of aniseed, some white pepper. Intriguing wine. Whoa! Very odd. It's like rose petals. Rose petals, ginger, very aromatic. It's almost as if someone has tried to make a dry Tokai with Gewürztraminer. Does that make sense? Does a bit to me. It's got this little bit of oxidation that's not flattening out the fruit, but making it, changing it from fresh fruit to slightly dried, crystallised type of fruit character. But then there's this rather exotic character. And I think that's the Malvasia. It's a particular strain of Malvasia that's bringing that in. Maybe not quite as tannic as the one before, but just as fascinating. Really oddball wine. These last two were pretty oddball. Probably the Matassa's my favourite, but I think all of these are intriguing and all different. So try and pigeonhole natural wine. It's not really possible. See you soon.